point of view. And also, in your 5-year plan right now, Berkeley City College doesn't have any projects in the queue. And our recommendation is that you start looking at the future build-out of the building and get those in line. Even though we're not going to see the state of California, fiscally upright for a while, we want to get in line for when that does happen.
And that's a question about that. As we continue to grow, I mean, we have a 3.25 that we included for 2020, but we have grown much more in the last few years.
Right.
So as we continue to grow, we're recommending that we start planning to get some projects at the state chancellor's office.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, because Berkeley City has not been part of that discussion.
That's right.
All the other 3 colleges have, so, I mean, given our growth, it could be a good opportunity to kind of start that discussion. It seems very exciting.
Remember, you can use, and you will be using, that 2022 forecast as the basis for your requests and your applications for funding. So 3.25 doesn't sound like a lot, but sustained over 14 years, that's a tremendous growth rate. If we have any math faculty here.
See, I want to let you know that that discussion has begun.
Good.
And what we have done essentially, we have Dale here. Dale, can you? Okay, Dale is assisting the Department of General Services to look at the areas that are closer to this campus where we can be able to lease some space to use right now with the intent to be able to acquire such property and use that as an addition to this campus.
Right.
We're looking at 2020 Milvia, where you got that from. We're looking at the space over there. No, if we look at the space over there, the intent would be to build new. The intent would be to build new, not to go and occupy the same old place that you had before. So that is the intent to say, if you get a space, do demolition of the place, build a new campus out from there. So the discussion has begun. All right.
So with that, I'm going to let Leo take over now and show you the facilities portion of the integrated plan.
Well, this is again, my name is Leo Ray Lynch. I think most of you I've talked to previously. I'm with WLC Architects. We're the master plan architect for the project. This campus obviously is very different than the other campuses. We're doing the master plan for all the campuses throughout Peralta. And this is very different because you don't really have what they usually call a campus with land associated with it. You are basically a building. And as such, the parameters that we look at you under and how we actually evaluate the expansion and growth potential is very different than, say, at Merritt College, for example. So, but the same processes stay in place. For example, our first step in the process is the assessment. In all the other campuses, and here we did it as well, there was a complete assessment done of existing facilities. In this case, you got brand new facilities. So the initial idea is that, well, you're brand new, you already don't need to be assessed. Facilities department, however, said they wanted the assessment done of your existing facility. And we found that there are things that, as you all well know, that still need to be done, even with the existing facility you have, even though you're brand new. So that was part of the first phase of the project. Some of those things are being addressed with some of the smaller projects that are underway now. Some of those things will be addressed as part of the ongoing projects that are upcoming in terms of some of the build-out work that's going on. We'll talk about in a moment. We then analyzed all of that work, and then, as I said, some of the projects that came out now, as well as some of the comments that you sent back to the facilities department about the work as part of that. Then from there, we developed the facilities master plan. Now here it becomes a little different because we again don't have the big campus to work with. We did have the town hall that we held here. I think a large percentage of you were here involved in that, as well as the community members who were here. And we talked about what your needs are, and needs really centered around outside of this building. It really looked at, we know we have to go somewhere else to address our future needs that are coming up. As Dan was saying, you basically need a building the same size as this building by 2022. That's really what their data says. Well, actually, it's a little bit bigger, yeah. And that's what their data is saying, is that you need to essentially replace this whole facility and then a little bit more by 2022. So how is that actually going to be done? Well, probably not that easily if you're going to stay right here in Berkeley. And so there are ways that they're talking about doing it in sort of probably incremental ways that that's going to occur. And it's going to look a little different than what you have now, quite frankly. So I think that's the offshoot of all this discussion was really that one of the key things was we'd like to have as much as possible a campus that's centralized, and so wherever possible, as you begin your expansion process, to get those expansion buildings and facilities as close to this facility as possible. Okay? And again, there's a whole lot of variations and variables involved in making that and doing that, but that's one of the first criteria you guys are looking for.
Question, are you looking at development trends in Berkeley, for example? Do you know that there's going to be an entirely new conference center development over here at the corner of Shattuck and Center?
Yes, we are aware.
Okay,
We're aware of that. Yes.
good. 'Cause
I have a question before you read the slide. Are you going to be discussing the parking issues?
I was going to mention that, yeah.
I
Yeah.
wanted to make one comment, and that one of the reasons why we have been going so well in terms of our increments and our growth for our students is the fact that we had the foresight when we were, fighting for this building, to say that it had to be in a very central location to transportation. We would not be in the position that we are today if we didn't have that. So I think that the idea of keeping the buildings that you're thinking about for the future close to these is very positive. Because of transportation.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
transportation is a key component
Is a
of
key
that,
component.
as well as the fact that, quite frankly, it's a brand new building. I mean, in terms of your spiking growth, when you have a brand new facility that's shiny and new, it looks good, has everything, almost everything's working properly, I mean, that's what attracts the students and attracts people there. That really is a big cause of the spike, as well as the access to transportation, all those kinds of things. There is, as Dr. Caro said, space is being looked as because of your growth, you need some leased space already that you're addressing. There is obviously a need for new facilities coming up in the future, and parking is a major issue. You're downtown in an urban center, and anytime you're downtown in any urban center, you're going to have parking problems. It just comes with the territory. So one of the things that is to be looked at as the expansion is how to perhaps incorporate parking and new facilities into the same at the same time.
Yeah.
In this case, you build a building in and of itself, but I think one of the things we recommend is that if you have the opportunity to build a new facility, that new facility be incorporated into some kind of a parking facility at the same time, which will help address some of those parking concerns. Probably won't address all of them because again, this urban, parking is always going to be the premium. Parking is always going to be a problem, but you will be able to address a great percentage of them by doing that. The major facility master plan goals for this campus. Number one is complete the interior renovation. You have all the space that was not built out in the original design because they were expecting growth over the next 4 to 5 years that would grow into those spaces. Well, you've already grown into them. So that work is, as you know, I'm sure some of you are on the committees that have been discussing that and going through that design process to finish that work off. So that's going on. Again, we talked about centralization of the campus. Wayfinding is signage is something that came up for people actually coming to this building. That it's still hard for people to find their way around, to know where to go, to know where do we go for admissions, where do we go for financial aid. There's still concerns about that, even with this brand new building, that people are still confused as they enter as to where they need to go to get to the places they want to go to. So we know that's something that probably needs to be addressed as part of the master plan issues here. Extra entry, and although you've got a beautiful building in the front, we're also looking at, maybe there's something we can do right outside at the front to enhance that entry experience at the street a little bit. So that's the other thing we're looking at. And then in terms of the expansion, because chances are we may not be able to get a building this size or bigger than this somewhere right over here, the other option is looking at neighborhood centers. In addition to a building that may be across the street or adjacent or down the street that's going to connect to this,